Okay, in this video we're going to look at a function called the net work days. So it calculates the number of working days from one date to another. So I'm going to use the same two dates just to show you the first difference between this formula and the days formula that we used here. So if I basically said equals, let's actually put it here. If I said equals net work days, right? And it says what is the start date now? So I put in the start date and it says what is the end date, comma, and the end date is that. Now you can see it has a function, an argument called holidays. Now it's when it shows in brackets like this holidays, it means you don't have to include it. It's an optional argument for the function, and I'll show you later how we basically use that, right? So I basically close that off, and immediately you'll notice one difference. This thing is basically saying 5 days. So what this function does when counting from the 4th to the 8th, it counts the starting date and the ending date. So it's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll basically always give you one more day than the days function, because it's saying from that start date to that end date, how many of those dates, inclusive of that beginning and ending date, are actual working days, right? Now, let's assume, for example, we actually said we change this particular date to the 1st, right? So we're going to go from the 1st to the 8th. And so from the 1st, if I change that to the 1st, you can immediately see that becomes 7 days, right? So from the 1st to the 8th, it's basically going to be, it's going to say the 8 minus the 1 is 7 days. Whereas with the net working days, it picks up 6 days. And you can see the 6 days that it picks up is the 1st, as well as these 5 working days. The dates of the 2nd and the 3rd are effectively left out because those are weekends. So that's the key thing about the working days. It will basically leave out the weekends. Let's assume we wanted to see how many working days there were in the whole of 2022. So we say we want to start off on the 1st of January and we want to run this until the end of December, right? So we go to the 31st of the 12th month, and you can immediately see because it's working, this days formula works out to 364, even though there are 365 days, because remember it leaves out the starting date, so it doesn't include both the starting and the ending date in the calculation. And the working days works out to 260, but this number is only excluding the weekends, the Saturdays and Sundays. Now when you're working out working days, you also want to exclude for this range any public holidays that may be in that period. And that's what that third function, when I put in a comma here, this holidays one there, is what it's for, right? So what we've got to do is we first got to define the list of holidays. So I've got a separate sheet here called public holidays, and I'm going to highlight all the public holidays. These are all the public holidays in 2022, and I'm going to call this public holidays, right? And I'm going to hit enter. So I've named that range of the holidays public holidays. And what we're now going to do is we're going to tell this formula, the net working days, to include the public holidays in there. And when I hit enter, you can see it basically went to 251. And the reason for that, if you look at it, is of these dates here, there would have been 9 of them that would have effectively have fallen on non-weekend days. So basically that's reducing the number of working days. And obviously, if we were dealing, like, let's say we're dealing with July, there isn't anything in July. But if we're dealing with June, for example, this date would have been removed. The 16th of June would have been removed from the calculation. So, obviously based on the start and the end dates. So that's how you would use the net work days calculation. The one final thing I want to show you is that not all countries have their weekends on Saturdays and Sundays. So in South Africa we do, so it's not an issue. But if you're working out a calculation for a country that has a different weekend, what you would do is you would use the net work days. Let's use the other function, this one here, INTL, basically international. If I click on tab, right, and you can see this also works very similar. So we'll have the same start date. It asks for an end date as well. Now on the third option, it says, what is your weekend? And now you can see it gives you different options for the weekend. So the standard one is on Saturdays and Sundays, but if your weekend was on Sunday and Monday, Monday and Tuesday, was it Sunday only? Was it Friday and Saturday? So if it was Friday and Saturday, for example, you'll get a different one. Let's assume it was Friday and Saturday. So if we double clicked on that, it will put in the 7, and that 7 just represents to the formula that it's Friday and Saturday. You put a comma in, and then you still put in your holidays range, which we can just assume will be the same, public holidays, close, and it will do a calculation. You can see it comes out slightly differently because of where the public holidays fall, but that's how you would use the international function for net working days.